In 2025, we are not having it. If we are setting goals, if we are writing down these resolutions, it is because we are going to make sure that they come true. Okay. We are going to make sure that you take action on everything that you say you want to do in 2025. All right. This is what this video is for. And I'm actually excited recording this because it's my last upload of the year for 2024. So the next time you get an upload from me, the next time you see my face, it'll be 2025. So I am going to go ahead and give you guys all the tips that you need to keep in mind as you're setting these 2025 resolutions, because I want to make sure that your results are guaranteed, right? This isn't just wishful thinking. You're not just going to start for the first month or two and then you just forget all about everything you said that you were going to do because it got hard. This is the video you need if you are ready to completely transform your life in 2025 and you want it to be a guarantee that it happens. Okay? Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Juditha, and on this channel we talk about all things mindset. We talk about your goals, your dreams, your insecurities, your fears, all those things that are going on in your mind when you're trying to create your dream life, because I'm going through the same thing. So trust me when I say that I get it. Okay, today we are going to talk about how can we guarantee you actually achieve those goals in 2025. I'm going to give you guys 5 tips. So the first thing I want to talk about is your self-concept, right? So if this year, 2024, if you set goals, right, but you struggled to achieve them, right? You struggled to be consistent. Maybe you didn't achieve them at all. First of all, I just want to say it's okay if you didn't achieve everything that you had on your list, right? It's okay if you tried, you gave it your all, you did your best, and you just still did not complete it. That's okay. The first thing I want you to keep in mind when you are setting your 2025 goals is your self-concept. Okay, your self-concept is probably the reason why you weren't able to stick to the goals that you set this year. And your self-concept is the I am. All right, it's the I am capable, I am worthy, or maybe it's I am lazy, I'm a procrastinator, I am not disciplined. It's like your self-concept is whoever you believe yourself to be. It's whatever you choose to label yourself as. That is your self-concept, right? And you are always going to act in accordance to your self-concept. If you believe I am lazy, then trust me, baby, you are going to show up as lazy. Okay, if you believe I am a procrastinator, you're going to show up like that, right? And the way how you get yourself out of this is to shift your self-concept. Shift the way that you see yourself. Shift the way that you speak to yourself. Shift the way that you think about yourself. Because when you start to think about yourself as someone else, actually, I'm somebody who can figure anything out. I'm somebody who can do hard things. I'm somebody who does not mind the discomfort of trying something new. When you identify as that type of person, you take action like that type of person. You think like that type of person, and you believe like that type of person. So that's the first thing, your self-concept. In 2025, look at your goals and figure out how the self-concept that you hold right now could be holding you back. If you have a goal to make $1 million in 2025, you cannot hold the self-concept that I am not worthy, right? I am not capable. I am poor. I am broke. You can't hold that self-concept and create $1 million. You just can't do it, right? You can't hold that self-concept and create 6 figures. Whatever it is that your goal is, your self-concept should be in alignment with the goals that you have. Okay, that is the first thing that I want you to really focus on. So the second thing that I want you to focus on going into 2025 is not only your self-concept, but also the way that you set goals, right? There's 3 things that I want you to consider as you are writing down these 2025 resolutions, right? And here is what they are. The first thing is where you are mentally and physically. The second thing is, what are you actually willing to do? The third thing is, do you actually believe in your ability to achieve the goals that you write down? And I'm going to go into these 3 things even deeper right now. So the first one, like I said, you have to think about where you are mentally and physically as you're writing down these goals. And I'll go back to the $1 million example. If your goal is to make $1 million, if your goal is to make 6 figures, if your goal is just to create abundance for yourself in any type of way, you cannot have a $2 mindset. You cannot have a scarcity mindset and expect that is going to get you to where you want to be. Okay, so that's what I mean when I say consider where you are mentally. Now, when it comes to considering where you are physically, what I mean by that is, let's say your goal is to stop spending money going out every weekend, right? Let's say you want to focus more on your desires, on your purpose, on fulfilling or creating a career and abundance for yourself, right? But in your environment, you are surrounded by people who could care less about their dreams, about their goals, goals. You are surrounded by people who think small. You are surrounded by people who want to go out every weekend and do all these things that is not conducive to the goals that you have. That is what I mean by also consider your environment. Now, I understand that sometimes you can't change your environment, and that's okay, because even though you can't change your environment, you have to be mentally strong enough to still make changes even within that environment. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to consider when you're writing down your goals. Where am I mentally and physically in relation to that goal? The second thing is, what are you willing to do? Now, I remember like when I was in college, right? And I was struggling financially and I was stressing and worrying and all that stuff, right? I had to ask myself, like, yo, like, what are you actually willing to do to get out of this? Because a lot of us, like, we will stay in the struggle. We will keep stressing, and it's insane, right? Because it's like we have options, like we have choices. There were things that I could do all along, but I just chose to stress about it, right? So I literally had to sit myself down and be like, what are you willing to do, Judy? Because this is where you are. Like, this is the reality of it. Okay. So what are you willing to do to not be able to stress about money? And I was like, are you willing to get another job? Are you willing to spend less? Are you willing to go out less? Like, are you willing to move back home and live with your mom so you pay less bills? It's like, I had to ask myself what I was and was not willing to do, because once I did that, it brought clarity to me, because I was like, you know what, Judy, you're already doing what you're willing to do. So what's the sense of being stressed? What it does not make sense to be worried when you have already outlined what you are and aren't willing to do to create that goal. Okay. So that's what I want you to do too as you're writing down these goals. The third thing is, do I actually believe that I have the ability to achieve these things? Like, you need to ask yourself that question. It's not a bad thing to write goals down that are a stretch for you, where you have to kind of like practice the belief in order to really, really believe that you can do it. That's fine. I feel like at the beginning of anything, it's hard for you to believe that you can do it before you actually do it. Like, before I became a coach, I knew I could do it, but it wasn't until I actually started doing it that I was like, you know what, I can actually do this. I hope that makes sense, right? So I get that, right? But you at least have to have a foundation, right? You at least have to believe. If nothing else, can you believe that there is nothing that you cannot be, do, or have? Like, if you're willing to try, if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to grow, like, there is just no obstacle that can stand in your way for long. Like, there's nothing. If you can at least believe that, then you are already 5 steps ahead of a lot of people. Okay. So really look at your goals. Like, if you say, I want to lose 100 pounds, do you actually believe that you can do that? And if you don't, then your job is to go to work to figure out, what can I do to reinforce this belief? What steps can I take to reinforce this belief? Like, what do I need to listen to? What do I need to learn to believe that I can do this thing? So that is the second thing that I want you to do, to consider these 3 questions as you are creating your goals for 2025. Now, the next thing that you're going to do to guarantee success in 2025, once you have a better idea of your self-concept, once you know exactly what your goals are and you ask yourself those 3 questions, you're already on your way. But here's the thing. I feel like I cannot talk about self-concept without talking about how hard it's gonna be to go up against your brain when you decide to do something new. When you decide to step into this version of you who is disciplined, who is consistent, who isn't worried, who isn't stressed, like, your brain, if it's not used to you being that type of person, it's gonna fight you. So I have to talk about how uncomfortable it's gonna be to outgrow this version of you, right? And something that I want you to understand is that this version of you right here created this reality that you're currently living, right? Whether you love it, whether you hate it, it doesn't matter. This version of you did that. And I want you to be grateful for this version of you, because she or he has brought you here, right? You're here, you're alive, you're breathing, you're watching this. So I want you to love this version of you and change and decide to change from a place of love, not from a place of hate. That's the first thing. And then also understand this, right? Like I said, your brain is going to fight you on everything. When you say, I want to lose 10 pounds next year, and in order to do that, I have to get up earlier. I have to eat healthier. I have to work out 5 days a week. Like, whatever it is that you say you want to do, and then the steps that you write down that you're going to take, your brain is going to question it. Your brain is going to make you doubt what you're doing. Your brain is going to ask you why. Like, why does this matter? Why do I need to get up earlier? Why do I need to lose weight? Like, I've been just fine all 2024, eating whatever I want, being as inconsistent as I want, being as undisciplined and as lazy as I want. Like, why does this matter now? And your job is to make sure that you have an answer, right? You have to make sure that you can let your brain know, like, hey, I'm doing this because I want to be healthy. I'm doing this because I want to love the body that I'm in. I'm doing this because it matters to me. Like, have an answer, because you are going to question it. When you have to get up earlier than you're used to, you're not going to want to. Your body is not going to want to. It's not used to it, right? Your brain is going to convince you that you could start tomorrow. And you have to know ahead of time that your brain is just trying to keep you safe, right? And there is nothing safer to your brain than doing what you've always done, because it can predict what's going to happen next, right? And that predictability is what kept us safe back in the days when we used to have to hunt for our food, when we lived in caves. Like, that is what that part of your brain is for. But now we're here, we're living in this reality now, so you don't have to survive in the same way, but your brain doesn't know that. So it's your brain, it's your job to rewire and train it to get used to this, to the discomfort that is inevitable when you're creating your dream life. I just want you to know that this is the struggle that comes with creating your dream life. This is the struggle that comes with accomplishing goals, doing things that you've never done before. This is what it's going to look and feel like. Know that ahead of time, be prepared ahead of time, and just don't make it a big deal when it happens. The fourth thing that I want you to do, I already told you about your self-concept. I already told you the 3 main questions I want you to ask yourself as you're creating these resolutions. And then we already talked about the discomfort that your brain is going to cause as you're trying to achieve these goals. So now, of course, I have to tell you, how do you rewire your brain? How do you get your brain to work with you and not against you, right? Step 1, look at your goals, and I want you to determine who you need to become, okay? Not what you need to do, not how you're going to do it, not how you're going to get there, none of that. I just want you to think about, if this is my goal, then who do I need to become to achieve this, right? And if you have no idea who you need to become, then I want you to look at someone who is doing the thing that you want to do, or who has accomplished the goal that you now have. Step 2 is to take consistent, imperfect action. And I say imperfect because I don't want you to think that you have to do a perfect thing. You have to make the perfect decision, the perfect choice. Something that I do with my clients that want to start working out more, or they want to just develop a morning routine, is I make it super, super easy for them. I'm like, okay, if you want to start working out, here's what we're going to do. Because you've never done this before, and because the thought of it already makes you feel unmotivated and uninspired, I tell them, I want you to get up, do what you usually do in the morning, and then instead of trying to work out for 30 minutes, I want you to just work out for 2 minutes. And I don't want you to go above that. And working out for 2 minutes can look however you want it. It can look like jogging in place. It can look like stretching for 2 minutes. It can look like Pilates for 2 minutes. Like, I don't care what it is, but do it for 2 minutes. And the reason we do that, and they laugh when I say that, because that's the point. I want the goal to feel so small that it's laughable, right? I want you to feel like it's so easy to achieve. All you have to do is unlock that part of your brain where it's like, okay, I get up and I work out. So it doesn't matter the duration of the workout. What matters is you're getting your brain used to working out. You're getting your brain used to spending time doing this thing. And after a while, the 2 minutes, it just feels too easy. So 2 minutes turn into 5 minutes, 5 minutes turn into 30, 30 turns into an hour. So that's something that you can do with your goals. Consistent, imperfect action. It doesn't have to be perfect in the beginning. Take the tiniest step that you think that you should take to achieve it. And don't let your brain convince you that you shouldn't, or you can't, or it's not the right time, or there's a better day. Like, do not let your brain talk you out of what you already know you need to be doing, okay? And eventually, I promise you, eventually, the more that you keep redirecting your brain back to the things that matter, eventually your brain will start to work with you. It won't always be this hard. I can't say that it ever goes away, because even for where I am in my journey, there's still days where I have to tell my brain, like, why are you doing this? And then the third thing that I want you to do to rewire your brain is to be very, very mindful of the content that you are consuming. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Like, this is probably one of the biggest reasons why I am where I am, right? Where I have the mindset that I have, is because I'm very intentional about the content I consume. And especially in the beginning of my journey, when it was hard for me to fight against my brain, when it was hard for me to fight against my insecurities, my doubts, my fears, I had to keep feeding my brain things that inspired me, that motivated me. So I would listen to people like Lisa Nichols, Les Brown, Jack Canfield, Jim Rohn. I was literally consuming content that just reaffirmed and reassured me that I could do whatever it is that I want, right? That I'm not doing this alone. And that helped me to get to where I am now. And this is exactly what I do for what I tell my clients to do. I'm like, every morning when you wake up, listen to something inspirational, listen to something motivational. Like, you have to be feeding your brain information so that when it starts freaking out and it starts worrying and stressing, you have the knowledge to know that how to calm yourself down, or how to redirect yourself back to what matters. Okay? And if nothing else, I want you to remember that to be successful, all that you need is resilience. All that you need is courage. All that you need is a willingness to get out of your comfort zone, to feel the discomfort. Like, if you are willing to feel fear and doubt and uncertainty and take action anyways, like, that's all you need to be successful. It doesn't cost anything to cultivate those things within yourself right now. That is it for this video. I know it was a lot of information, y'all. I know sometimes I talk fast, so watch it again if you have to, but really, really take notes on these things, because these are the things that I do with my clients, so I know they work, okay? I know that they work, and they will work for you too. But if for some reason you want some support, just know that in 2025, you do have the opportunity to work with me one-on-one to make sure that you achieve every single one of those goals, okay? If you're interested, I will leave a link in the description box that you can click. Once you click it, fill out the form, and you'll be hearing from me shortly after that, okay? That is it for today. I hope you bloomed. I hope this was helpful. It's about to be 2025, and I want to make sure that all of us are achieving the things that we put on our vision board, okay? No excuses. Quitting isn't an option. There is no reason why you can't, why you shouldn't, or why this is not the right time, okay? You are not watching this video by mistake. Peace to 2024, and I will see you guys next year.